मम्मी को दिख ले भाई।
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so let's continue. We were continuing with the chapter carbon. Okay, is there anyone who is getting any chapter in chemistry which we have not completed for their exams which are upcoming? So, is there anyone who is getting those chapters which we have not completed? Have you completed all the chapters which are coming in their exams? Okay, Aryan, Dhairya, Subhansh.
No, sir.
Okay, so I think everyone must be getting in their exams. They must be getting from the two chapters in physics, that is light and human eye. And in chemistry, you must be getting chapter 1 and
Sir,
chapter 2, right?
no, sir. I'm getting a light and electricity in half yearlies, not human eye.
Oh, you're getting light and electricity.
Yes, sir.
So definitely we haven't done electricity much. Okay, we just did a little part of
Sir,
the,
our portion is not confirmed, sir.
yeah.
Our this midterm exam portion is not confirmed, sir.
Okay, this midterm. Okay, anyways, just see by the end of October or November, I think your course should complete. Okay, we'll be completing your course by the end
Good
of
evening, sir.
October, and then we'll continue with revision. See, where while revising, we enter more deeper into the chapters. Okay. So here we continue now. We continue with carbon and its compounds. Let's continue. So this will be your first time for carbon and compounds. And once it's completed in your class, so then we'll revise this chapter again. Okay, a second revision will boost this chapter of carbon and its
Sir, in
compounds.
our class, electricity status.
Okay, electricity is running.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so okay, in the physics class, I will try to take some parts of electricity also. So for carbon and its compounds, we had seen these things. We had seen the properties of catenation. Okay, see what are the properties we have seen. We have seen the property of carbon, which we call tetravalency. So why carbon is tetravalent? That means carbon forms 4 bonds with the neighboring elements. Okay, or it shares 4 electrons. 4 bonds of carbon. That is why it is called as tetravalent. The second thing we studied about carbon is covalent bonding. So carbon forms covalent bonds with the compound with which it is attached. Right? So carbon forms covalent bond with the neighboring compounds. Then the third thing we studied about allotropes of carbon. Okay, what are the allotropes of carbon?
Graphite diamond.
Yeah, graphite and diamond are the two allotropes of carbon. These are the natural allotropes of carbon. The third allotrope is also fullerenes, which is an artificial allotrope. Okay. Fullerenes, graphene, these are the artificial allotropes of carbon. Then Okay, I think these were the properties which we had seen, how carbon forms bonds with the other elements. So it is tetravalent. Okay, one more property we had seen for carbon, which we call as catenation. So what is meant by catenation? Yes, what is catenation? Sumuk, what is catenation?
Ability to form a long chain.
Yeah, ability to form long chain bonds with itself. Which other element shows this catenation property? Abhinav, which other element shows the property of catenation?
Their oxygen molecule.
No.
Chlorine.
Which one?
Hydrogen.
No. Catenation is shown only by one only element.
Carbon.
No, that is silicon, and it shows catenation only up to 4 atoms, not beyond that. Only 4 atoms are shown in a catenation with silicon. Okay, there is no other element which shows the ability for catenation. Okay, so you can say that catenation is a property of carbon only. Carbon can combine thousands of carbon atoms with each other. Okay. Now the different types of carbon atoms that can be there, they can be either chain molecules like this. They can form a chain. You can have one carbon bonded with another, bonded with another, like this. So they can be either chain molecules, or so this we call as the chain. Then you can have a branch also. A branch is something like this. Carbon bonding with each other, then you have another carbon, then you have another carbon. So this is now forming a branch. So you have a carbon, another branching. So this is a branch, right? So carbon elements, they can show catenation either as a chain or as a branch, or they can also show catenation in the form of a ring. Cyclic compounds, which we call, so carbon can also form cyclic compounds that we call as the ring or cyclic compounds. Okay. So in the ring or cyclic compounds, it can be like this. So ring or cyclic compound, it can be like this. 4 carbon atoms joined together. It can also be 5 carbon atoms joined together like this. It can also be 3 carbon atoms joined. So carbon. It can also be 6 carbon atoms joined with each other. Okay. So these are the structures which are possible with carbon. Carbon either can form a chain, it can either form a branch, it can form a ring, or it can be a combination of chain, branch, and ring also. That means a chain may contain a branch may contain a chain may contain a ring. So understood everyone about these four properties of carbon? Carbon is tetravalent. It has the ability to form four bonds, and the bonds formed by the carbon, they are all covalent bonds. Carbon shows allotropy, so that means it can exist in more than two physical forms. Is there any other element that can show allotropy? Any other element that can show allotropy? Yes. Siddharth? Siddharth, is there any other element which can show allotropy?
Sir,
Mhm. Any other element that shows allotropy?
So can I tell?
Which one?
Phosphorus.
Yes. Other elements which can show allotropy is phosphorus,
Sulfur.
sulfur,
oxygen,
yeah.
Carbon.
Carbon is there. Carbon we have already done. Okay, we have already other than carbon. Other than carbon, allotropy can be shown by phosphorus and sulfur. Oxygen does not show allotropy. Okay. Oxygen doesn't show allotropy. Got it? Allotropy
tin,
means yeah. Anything else? Okay. What are the two allotropes of sulfur? So okay, Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, can you name the two allotropes of sulfur? Arav. Arav.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the two allotropes of sulfur?
Don't know, sir.
Okay, see, sulfur has two allotropes. They are called as monoclinic sulfur and rhombic sulfur. Then phosphorus has two allotropes, which are called as yellow phosphorus and red phosphorus. Yellow phosphorus is sometimes also called as white phosphorus. Yellow phosphorus, it has a very low ignition temperature. If when a yellow phosphorus is exposed to air, so it catches fire readily. So phosphorus, it has two allotropes, yellow and red. Sulfur has two allotropes, monoclinic sulfur and rhombic sulfur. Carbon has two allotropes, graphite and diamond, which are the naturally occurring. Okay, okay. हाँ 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 आप भी थोड़ा हमारे इधर से 150 किलोमीटर पड़ा था हमारे लखनऊ के पास नहीं हमसे पहले ही है Okay. So we continue again. So for carbon, we have seen all the properties. We will see here now hydrocarbons. Now the next topic we are going to do is hydrocarbons. So what are hydrocarbons? As the name suggests, hydrocarbons means carbon and hydrogen. Okay. So hydrocarbons are the compounds of carbon and hydrogen. So the compounds of carbon and hydrogen, they are called as hydrocarbons. So for example, you have this okay, hydrocarbons, they are the compounds of carbon and hydrogen only. Only the compounds of carbon and hydrogen, they are called as hydrocarbons. Now see, it can be when carbon is attached with, so how many hydrogen can be attached to a carbon? So hydrocarbons, how many hydrogen atoms can be attached? Okay, how many bonds are formed by hydrogen atom?
One.
How much? A hydrogen atom, it has only one electrons in the valence shell, and this is the K shell of the electron. So this K shell, it requires only one more electron to fulfill. Hydrogen cannot accommodate any electron greater than 2. So hydrogen can form a bond with other elements by sharing of electrons, which can be just one. So hydrogen can share only one electron, and hence a covalent bond will be set up between two hydrogen atoms, or any hydrogen atom wherever bonded, it will be forming just one single bond. Whereas a carbon can form four bonds. So it can't happen with hydrogen like this. Hydrogen cannot form bonds like this. Can anyone tell why? Why hydrogen cannot form bonds like this? Siddharth, Arav, why it's not possible for hydrogen to form bonds like this?
Sir, maybe because it has
Okay.
very less.
Okay, see, if you okay, can you tell me how many electrons are there with this central hydrogen atom?
3.
How
Two.
many?
3.
Two.
No. See, this hydrogen atom, it is sharing its two electrons, and here it's
So
gaining two
4.
more electrons. So it becomes the central hydrogen atom having four electrons, which is not possible. Every bond means two electrons. Okay. So every bond has two electrons, and hence here the hydrogen atom will not be able to form bonds like this. The reason being, here we observe that the central hydrogen atom is possessing four electrons, which is not possible. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, okay, let's see how does carbon form. So you have a carbon, and a carbon has 4 electrons to share. Okay, it has 4 electrons to share, and if this carbon forms bonds with hydrogen, so each hydrogen has just 1 electron to share. So each hydrogen will be able to form only one bond with the carbon. So here it will be like this: hydrogen, hydrogen, and here also a hydrogen. So each hydrogen having only one electron and sharing one electron with the carbon. Got it? So in this way, now we have a formation of a hydrocarbon. Can I call this compound to be a hydrocarbon?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what could be its chemical formula?
Sir, CH.
HC.
How much?
CH.
Okay. How many carbon atoms are there?
1.
2.
Sir, CH4.
Yeah. There is one carbon atom, and how many hydrogen atoms are there?
4.
Sir, 4.
So this is CH4, methane. Got it? It is CH4. Its
Sir,
chemical
so
name is
hydrogen carbon is also called as
how much? Yes.
hydrogen
Hmm?
carbon is also called as methane.
No. One carbon, 4 hydrogen. So this is the molecular formula CH4, and this compound is called as methane. Okay. So methane is a hydrocarbon, as it is a compound made up of carbon and hydrogen only. If you have something like this, let's say you have 2 carbon atoms, where the 2 carbon atoms, they are sharing one electron with themselves, and the remaining 3 electrons, they are being shared with hydrogen like this. So here the remaining 3 electrons,
C2H3.
yeah, C2H. Again count the hydrogen. Count the hydrogen
C2H
again.
C2H6.
Yeah, it is C2H6. It's C2H6. Got it? Where each of these shared pair of electron, it can be represented with a bond like this. So every bond had 2 electrons, where each contributing electron is obtained from the one from each element. Okay, so this is a covalent bond. Its molecular formula will be C2H6, and this compound is called ethane. Got it? The next we can make with 3 carbon atoms. So
Sir,
3
so we
carbon.
can call ethane also as hydrogen carbon.
Yeah, this is also a hydrocarbon. Ethane is also a hydrocarbon. In the same way, you can have
Sir,
a chain of 3 carbon atoms, all the 3 joined with hydrogen atoms with a single bond. So now this is also a hydrocarbon. Okay, and what will be its chemical formula?
C3H8.
Yeah, it is C3H8. So in this way, a number of hydrocarbons are possible. Okay, a number of hydrocarbons are possible, and this hydrocarbon is called as propane. Okay, now this was the one way of making the hydrocarbons. There is still another way of making the hydrocarbons, and see what is the other way by which the hydrocarbons can be made.
could you share the previous pages, sir?
Yeah,
Previous page, sir.
the two combining carbon atoms, they may share 2 electrons with themselves, something like this, and the remaining 2 electrons will be shared with hydrogen. The remaining 2 electrons shared with hydrogen like this. So you have hydrogen here, hydrogen, 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 each hydrogen also sharing one electron. So we can observe that there is a double bond between carbon and carbon. Double bond means each carbon is sharing 2 electrons. Okay, so each carbon is sharing 2 electrons. Now this is still a hydrocarbon. Got it? It is a compound of carbon and hydrogen only, and its chemical formula would be C2H4. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So its chemical formula is C2H4 and its name is ethene. It is called ethene. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In the same way, it can be in some other way also, like this. The 2 carbon atoms, they can share 3 electrons with each other. They can share 3 electrons now.
But then they are ethane.
Yeah. Then only 1 electron will be shared with hydrogen. So each hydrogen sharing 1 electron only. So here you have hydrogen, another hydrogen. Now joined with each other, carbon, carbon, joined. So there is a triple bond between carbon and carbon, and its chemical formula now becomes C2H2. Its chemical name is ethyne. Now, can carbon also join with 4 bonds with each other?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, it's not possible. It's not possible for carbon to make all the 4 bonds with each other. The reason being that because of its arrangement, the electrons, how they are oriented in space. Because of that, it's not possible for carbon to share all the 4 electrons. Okay, so carbon can share at the maximum of 3 electrons with each other. So these are the 3 groups of hydrocarbons. See, either carbon can share just 1 electron with itself, like here we did here. We observed that carbon is sharing only 1 electron with the neighboring carbon. Okay. Here we observe that carbon is sharing 2 electrons with the neighboring carbon. Here we observe that carbon is sharing 3 electrons with the neighboring carbon. Now, these classes in the similar way, here there can be an extension. Like it can be also possible with a chain of more than 3 carbon atoms. Like this, I can also have something like this, C, double bond C, and again a chain of carbon atoms can be there. Okay, so this is also of the same kind. There is a double bond between carbon and carbon atom. Here also it's possible again to form a long chain. So chain can still continue. Again there can be a chain of hydrogen atoms combined with this carbon. Okay, so all these are hydrocarbons, and on a broad scale, all these hydrocarbons, they are classified under 3 categories. Okay, these are also called as the families of hydrocarbons, which we also call as the homologous series. So hydrocarbons, they are classified as alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. Alkanes, then you have alkenes. Okay, now. Okay, so alkenes, alkenes, and alkynes, these are the 3 groups of hydrocarbons. So So a hydrocarbon in which there is just one bond between carbon and carbon atom, these are called as alkanes. If there is a double bond between carbon and carbon atoms, then it is called as an alkene. And if there is a triple bond between carbon and carbon atom, then it is called as an alkyne. Okay. So here it means only single bond. Only single bond between carbon and carbon. Alkenes means double bond. There will be a double bond. Okay. That is also an alkene. Then alkynes, there is a triple bond between carbon and carbon. Okay. So understood this? Alkane, alkene, and alkyne. Yes. So alkanes, they are the compounds of carbon where carbon is attached with the neighboring carbon by the presence of a single bond between carbon and carbon atom. Alkenes are the compounds of carbon where the neighboring carbon atoms, they are joined by a double bond with each other. And alkynes, okay, so alkanes, alkenes, alkynes. What everyone understood? These are all examples of hydrocarbons. Now let us see how do we name them. Naming of hydrocarbons. Naming of the hydrocarbons, see how the hydrocarbons can be named. So, first of all, we try to remember the parent name. I'll tell you what does the parent name means like. See, unless you people participate here, you won't be getting, you won't get the concepts of this chapter. The parent name for one. If any carbon has just one atom, so its parent name is given as meth. If it has two carbon atoms, so its parent name is given as eth. If it has three carbon atoms, so its parent name is given as prop. Okay. If it has four, so the name is given as but. It's but. If it contains five, so the name is given as pent. Then if it contains six, so the name is given as hex. If it's seven, if the number of carbon atoms is 7 in the parent chain, we call it as hept or sept. Either call it hept or sept. Both are accepted. If the number of carbon atoms is 8, we call it oct. If it's 9, we call it as non. Then if it's 10, we call it dec. There are countings even after this, but we need to remember only this much. As per our grade 10, this 10 is the maximum. Okay. So if it has just one carbon atom, we name it as meth. If the chain has 2 carbon atoms, we call it as eth. If the chain has 4 carbon atoms, we call it but. For 5, it's pent. Okay, now let's see how the name is given. So for this one, if it is an alkane, see, if it is alkane, so for the alkanes, how we name this? For the alkanes, the first or parent name will be given by this meth, and after this, the last 3 words will be attached. That is, A and E will be attached with it. So, if it's an alkane, so it will be written as methane. Okay. If it's a alkene, okay. So for methane, alkene is not possible because there has to be a bond between carbon and carbon. Okay. For ethane, yes, we can call this. There can be a double. If there is a double bond between carbon and carbon, so we can call it as eth, parent name, followed by E and E, the last name. That is ethene. It means it is an alkene. If there is a triple bond between them, we call them as alkyne. So carbon and carbon attached with triple bond like this, it will be called alkyne, and the name will be given for the parent name followed by Y and E. Ine will be attached in it. Okay. Now try to name these compounds which I am making. Quickly name these compounds. Okay, who can name this compound?
Sir, C2H4, ethene,
Ethene. Okay, very good. Then what is the name for this one?
propane,
Butane.
Yeah.
Butane.
propane,
How many carbon atoms are there in the parent chain?
4,
4.
Okay, so there are 4 carbon atoms in the parent chain. So its name will be but. And there is only single bond between carbon and carbon, so it will be butane. Okay. Can you draw the structure of pentane?
yes sir,
Okay, draw the structure of pentane. And also name this. Name this one also.
sir, propane,
No, not propane. Let's see. It's prop, but there is a double bond between carbon and carbon.
propene,
Yeah, so it is propene.
Sir, pentene I drew, sir.
So just check it. Your pentane will be like this: 5 carbon atoms, 3, 4, 5, and then remaining all the bonds filled with hydrogen. Just take care
yes
that
sir,
no carbon atom should have bonds greater than more than 4. The number of bonds with carbon should be only 4, not less than 4, not more than 4. Got it? Okay, so we'll continue with this topic of nomenclature in our next class also. Bye everyone. See you all in next class. Okay.
Bye, ma'am.
thank you sir, bye sir.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir.